For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida rise? I said, no. The gentlewoman from Florida.
Stand up. Stand up. Put the damn flag away.
Okay. The gentlewoman is not recognized.
Why are you laughing? Mr. Beard, why are you laughing?
Because you said quote-unquote parents, as if they weren't really their parents.
Going back to a statement that Mr. Breer had made, you talk about intentional trauma and that the Trump administration caused intentional trauma by separating these children from their quote-unquote parents. You have no idea. Not only have you not been to the border,
I'm not done.
Hold on, I'm not done. You have no idea if these people are their intentional parents or not.
Oh yeah.
You have no idea. That's exactly why we do family. Really? Are you psychic?
No,
have you won the lotto, Mr. Breer? I don't think you have.
Read the Office of Inspector General report on family separation.
You have no idea what you're doing, and you are hurting these children. The reason why we want family separation until we can confirm if they are the actual biological parents is because these kids are being trafficked.
As a father,
I do. Excuse me, I'm a mother. We can go back and forth, but I'm done talking to you because what you did was destructive. Mr. Schiff exploited his position as chair of Intel Committee and every opportunity possible, threatening national security, undermining our duly elected president, and bringing dishonor upon the institution. This is not a partisan act. This is not a conservative versus liberal vote. This is a clear vote between right and wrong, and I urge you to do the right thing. If we run away from this opportunity to hold this man accountable, there's only one fault, and that is of ourselves. We will betray the people who trusted us and sent us here to do the right thing.
We're seeing the complete ethical collapse of a once great political party. The Republican Party began as a pro-freedom, anti-racist, pro-immigrant, anti-know-nothing party. It has become an authoritarian cult of personality, taking orders from an inciter of insurrection, a bully and braggart whose rage towards Mike Pence and whose spectacular disrespect for the rule of law endangered not only our entire constitutional order, but everyone in this room. The party of Lincoln and his Lincolnites has become the party of Luna and her Luna followers.
I'd just like to speak on this amendment in support real quick. The Department of Defense should not be giving money to propaganda machines. In fact, the only money that should be going from the Department of Defense anywhere is to lethality, not organizations ticked off that a conservative from Ohio might be calling out different branches for their focus on DEI or CRT, or a movement that is basically alienating conservatives and pushing conservatives outside of its ranks. I think that there are a lot of members who speak on these bills that are not service members or have no experience with the Department of Defense. And honestly, we in this governing body are not going to allow a wokeification of the Department of Defense. And frankly, with the near-peer threat that we have in the future, I think that it is increasingly important that we are focusing again on lethality and not woke nonsense that has no business in the NDA.
A lot of this is coming from disputes that conservatives have. But you can't just say whatever you want to say. The people who tried to overturn the 2020 election are learning that. We have heard about the attack on this Capitol on January 6th. We have heard people say, oh, it didn't happen. It was Antifa. It was an inside job. It was government. All of these things are wrong, okay? Not, you say this, I say that. Wrong. Facts do exist, even if some of them turn out to be wrong. This amendment says, nah, we're giving up. We're not even trying to figure out what's true. Anything goes. Have fun with it. I don't think that's a good idea in general, but it is a particularly bad idea in our national security environment that we are in right now, because Russia and China love that approach.
Do you believe that individuals from these countries and illegal aliens in general should be allowed to exploit the medical system that you help oversee?
Again, I'm here to talk about the HHS's proposed rule to extend benefits to DACA recipients to ensure that their treatment is in line with other deferred action recipients.
So you can't answer the question. Are you aware that China does not like the United States and that has engaged in espionage activities against the United States?
I don't have any personal professional knowledge of that.
Okay, well, I suggest you read Breitbart.
Well, it was suggested that you should read Breitbart, and I couldn't let it go. And so just for the general public, because I don't want anybody to believe that that's a good idea, I just got on Google, which if you have a cell phone, we can all do that. Breitbart News Network is an American far-right syndicated news, opinion, and commentary website founded in mid-2007 by American conservative commentator Andrew Breitbart. Breitbart News content has been described as misogynistic, xenophobic, and racist by academics and journalists. So I don't know that that's where I want anybody to take their cues from, especially when they're trying to run this country.
In this way would not deter illegal immigration. In fact, it encourages more individuals to take the dangerous trek across our borders illegally. And to put the cost of illegal immigration into perspective, illegal immigration has a net cost of approximately $151 billion per year. This cost is not incurred by illegal aliens that are coming to the United States, but instead paid for by hardworking Americans, while those breaking the law have zero financial accountability. And let's be clear, whenever they show pictures of DACA recipients, they typically tend to show Hispanic children, when in actuality it's more than just the Hispanic demographic. So I guess the question for you would be, you're in charge of a program that's costing American taxpayers millions and billions of dollars, and yet you're sitting here refusing to answer questions about whether or not that's fair, or there's certain terminology being used for these programs. I guess my suggestion to you would be is that our rules that we have in place are in place for a reason.
DACA is political, is what I heard just now. Just to be clear, you've testified that DACA recipients are considered to be lawfully present, correct?
That's correct. I've said that under the Department of Homeland Security's longstanding definition, DACA recipients are considered lawfully present.
Right, they're not considered illegals, they're considered to be lawfully present. But lawfully present doesn't mean that you have the right to vote, correct?
I would defer to my
well, I'll give it to you. Only U.S. citizens can vote. And so therefore, this idea that it's political, or as if the Biden administration is about to rack up some votes, is just another falsehood. In fact, all we continue to get is half-baked ideas and half-baked or half-lies or half-truths, whichever way you want to look at it. Let's talk about the half-baked ideas first, though. My colleague, Ms. Lee, brought up the fact that we're talking about expanding access to pregnant women and children, correct?
In the Medicaid program, yes.
Okay, and this is only in states that have extended Medicaid, correct?
This is under the proposal, this would impact the 35, roughly 35 states who have chosen the option to cover lawfully residing pregnant individuals as well as children.
Okay, so we're talking about pregnant women, and have you heard of the Dobbs decision?
I have.
Okay, all right, so we have a party that says, seemingly, what would Jesus do? Seemingly, that's how they govern themselves. And so they've decided that all women should just bear all the children and not have any rights to decide what they're going to do. And so even under this set of circumstances, they think that it's great that all women should just be pregnant, but they don't want them to have any access to health care. That sounds like a half-baked idea to me, to say that forget life when it comes to, say, the life of the mother, because that's a real thing. Because if you have health care, and I don't know how deeply you've delved into this, but we have been talking, and when I say we, I mean the Democrats, have been talking about the fact that we have a terrible maternal mortality rate in this country. And when you start talking about people of color or people of lower socioeconomic means, that rate goes up even more astronomically. And so the idea that people are already dying, let me be clear. Are there people that tend to be at a higher risk when they don't have access to health care when they're pregnant?
Yes, it is our belief that being insured leads to better health outcomes.
Thank you. Let's also just talk about these half-truths. Really, they're just full lies. I was trying to be nice. The reality is that they're trying to make this into the immigration boogeyman that they always talk about, yet we've yet to have a bill on the floor that has been proposed in the form of a policy around immigration. Instead, what they want to do is continue to treat immigrants as if they are the big, bad boogeyman. And so we're sitting here and we're talking about a program, and you've remained composed. So let me compliment you for that. Because my colleagues on the other side of the aisle continue to ask you about the border. What in this bill, or this policy, this rule change, what in this rule change has anything to do with the border? Just give me one thing that it has to do with the border. One. Okay, exactly. It doesn't, right? It doesn't. But for some reason, they believe if they say it, that it's true. I would love to live in a world where whatever I say somehow is true. But the reality is that if they want immigration reform, they are in control of the House, and they can put a bill on the floor. But they don't want to do that because they want to continue to say that immigrants are the big bad boogeyman. Thank you for your service. This has nothing to do with immigration. It has everything to do with being good citizens and good lawmakers and good public servants who actually just give a darn about people. Thank you.